What if I told you that an ordinary man, drowning in debt and trapped in a cycle of frustrations, managed to completely transform his life in just 90 days? Sounds impossible, right? But what happened to Lucas goes beyond money. It's a story about challenges, choices, and a discovery that changed everything. Get ready for intense moments, a surprising twist, and a lesson that might inspire your own journey. Make sure to like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notifications because this story could be the beginning of your transformation. Shall we go together? Another month, another stack of overdue bills. That was what I thought while staring at my kitchen table piled high with red envelopes. The clock read 11:45 p.m., and I had just come home from yet another double shift at the convenience store. My back ached, my feet throbbed, and my mind was exhausted from calculating how to turn $1,200 into $3,000 in debt. "Lucas, do you need help?" asked Sarah, my neighbor from 302, who always showed up with some excuse to check if I was okay. She had seen me dragging my feet down the hallway. "I'm fine, Sarah. Just tired from work," I replied, trying to force a smile that wouldn't convince anyone. "You work too much," she commented, her voice filled with concern. "When was the last time you took a day off?" I shrugged, avoiding her gaze. "I can't afford that luxury right now." After Sarah left, I sat at my little table and opened my banking app. Negative balance of -$247.83. That negative number seemed to mock me, reminding me of all the wrong choices I had made at 35 years old. "There has to be another way," I murmured to myself, running my hands over my tired face. My one-bedroom apartment was a perfect reflection of my financial life, basic, cramped, and always in need of repairs I couldn't afford. The leak in the kitchen sink had turned into a constant symphony of dripping, marking time like an irritating metronome. That night, as the rain lashed against the windows, I found myself staring at an old photo on the wall. It was me, 10 years younger, smiling with hope for the future. What happened to that guy? I asked aloud. My phone buzzed. It was a notification from the bank. Your automatic payment of $450 for rent will be debited in 48 hours. Damn! I slammed my hand on the table, making the bills tremble. The sound echoed through the empty apartment, amplifying my loneliness and despair. Lisa, my supervisor at the store, had warned me earlier. "Lucas, I know you need the money, but these double shifts are killing you. You can barely concentrate." "What more can I do, Lisa?" I had replied at the time. "The bills just keep coming." Now, sitting alone in my apartment, that conversation echoed in my mind. The truth was I was caught in a vicious cycle. The more I worked, the more tired I became, and the less capable I felt of changing my situation. A loud thunderclap shook the windows, and for a moment, I stared at my reflection in the fogged glass. Deep circles under my eyes, slumped shoulders, a defeated look that I barely recognized. "There must be something more," I whispered to my reflection. "Something I still haven't discovered. There has to be a different path." Little did I know that moment of despair would be the start of a transformation that would change not only my bank account but my entire life. It was my lunch break, and as usual, I was sitting in the small storage room at the store, eating a cold sandwich while scrolling through my phone. That's when an ad caught my attention. "Is your money not enough? What if I told you that your thoughts are the key to changing that?" Normally, I would ignore something like this, but the presenter's voice had something different. It was calm, confident, without that desperate salesman tone I despised. "Hey, Lucas, are you watching that self-help nonsense?" Mike, my coworker, walked into the storage room laughing. "It's not nonsense," Lisa, our supervisor, who was also there, replied. My sister completely changed her life after she started studying manifestation. Manifestation? I asked, genuinely curious. It's like a universal law, Lisa explained, sitting next to me. Your thoughts and feelings create your reality. If you believe you will always be poor, guess what? You will remain poor. That sounds a bit too magical, I commented, skeptical. I thought so at first, Lisa smiled. But try giving it a chance. That weekend, determined to investigate further, I went to a used book fair in downtown. The smell of old paper and coffee filled the air as I wandered between the shelves. Looking for something specific, an elderly lady, the owner of the stand, asked. Actually, I'm not quite sure. Let me guess, she interrupted, her eyes shining. You're looking for answers. Before I could respond, she bent down and picked up a dusty book. The Secret of Prosperity, I read aloud. This book finds the right people at the right time, she said, smiling. $5. At home, I sat in my old armchair and opened the book. The yellowed pages had a peculiar smell, as if they held ancient secrets. On the first page, there was a handwritten note, to whoever finds this book, your life is about to change. What a strange coincidence, I murmured, recalling the podcast I'd seen earlier. I began to read, and for the first time in years, I felt something different growing inside me. It wasn't exactly hope, it was more like a spark of possibility. What if? I thought, letting the question linger in the air. What if there really is a way to change all of this? That night, I slept with the book beside my bed, unaware that those old pages would be the first step in a transformation I never imagined was possible. It had been a week since I started trying to practice those manifestation techniques. Every morning, I looked at myself in the bathroom's foggy mirror and repeated, I am worthy of abundance. Money flows to me naturally. But on that specific morning, when I opened my banking app, reality hit me like a punch to the stomach, minus $436. 28, what a joke, I muttered, throwing my phone onto the bed. What abundance is this that only brings me bills? At work, Sarah, my coworker at the adjacent register, noticed my discouragement. Still trying that manifestation thing? She asked during our break. That's just what I needed, Kevin, another coworker, chimed in. Lucas, man, be realistic. People like us are born poor and die poor. That's how it works. Kevin's words echoed in my head all day. That night, sitting on my worn-out sofa, I looked at the book on manifestation on the coffee table. Who am I trying to fool? I said aloud to the empty apartment. My dad worked for 30 years at the same factory and barely managed to retire. My mom still cleans houses at 65. Why would I be different? I grabbed my notebook where I had started writing my goals and dreams. Page after page of desires that now seemed ridiculous, a house of my own, a new car, trips. The phone rang. It was yet another debt collector. Mr. Lucas, about your credit card. I'll pay as soon as I can, I replied automatically before hanging up. That night, lying in bed, an insistent voice inside me whispered, give up. This isn't for you. You're wasting your time. I picked up the book once more, but the words seemed blurred. How could I manifest abundance if I could barely pay my basic bills? Maybe I really don't deserve something better, I thought, feeling the weight of generations of financial struggle on my shoulders. Maybe this is my place in the world. The book remained closed on the bedside table for 3 days. Every time I looked at it, I felt a mix of shame and frustration. It was as if it mocked my naivety in believing that simple positive thoughts could change a lifetime of difficulties. On that Wednesday night, I was working overtime in the warehouse when a podcast started playing automatically on my phone. Creative visualization is not just daydreaming, the calm female voice explained. It's creating a mental blueprint so real that your brain can't distinguish it from reality. I stopped organizing the boxes and sat on the floor, completely absorbed. Think of an athlete, the host continued. Before an important competition, they visualize every move, every detail. Their brain is literally training for success. Lucas? Still here? It was Rachel, the night shift manager. Just finishing up organizing and... What are you listening to? She asked, sitting next to me. Oh, it's about creative visualization, I replied, somewhat embarrassed. Really? I've been doing this for 2 years. Her eyes lit up. Want a tip that changed everything for me? Rachel pulled out a notebook from her bag. The pages were filled with handwritten notes. It's called scripting, she explained. You write your life as if it's a script, but in the present tense. As if you are already living all of that. Like a future diary? Exactly. Look, she showed a page. I wrote this 6 months ago. I'm so happy with my promotion to manager. And here I am. That very night, I bought a new notebook. I sat at my small desk and began. Today was an amazing day. My bank account is healthy, with $10,000 in savings. I wake up every morning feeling secure and at peace. With each word, I closed my eyes and truly allowed myself to feel that reality. The smell of coffee in my new kitchen, the smile on my face when I see my bank balance, the feeling of wearing new clothes. You have to feel as if it's already real, the voice from the podcast echoed in my mind. For 21 consecutive days, I dedicated 15 minutes before bed to write and visualize. Sometimes it felt silly. Other times, it was almost as if I could touch that future. The universe doesn't distinguish between what is real and what you visualize intensely, Rachel told me one day. The question is, can you believe in your dreams so much that it becomes more real than your doubts? It was an ordinary Tuesday when my supervisor called me into his office. Lucas, you've been doing an exceptional job these past few months, he said, adjusting his glasses. We've decided to give you a $500 bonus. I stood frozen for a few seconds. It was exactly the amount I owed on my credit card, the debt that kept me up at night. This is, wow, thank you so much. I stammered. Back at my desk, I grabbed my scripting notebook. There it was, written 3 weeks ago. I'm so happy and grateful to have paid off my credit card debt. It can't be a coincidence, I murmured. That night, while scrolling through social media, an ad caught my attention. Startup looking for professionals in career transition. Sales experience is a plus. Hey, Rachel. I called my mentor the next day. Check out this job. And why haven't you applied yet? Oh, I don't know. Seems way above my level. Rachel crossed her arms. What did you write in your notebook about your dream job? I took the notebook and read, I work in a dynamic environment, with creative people, doing what I love. Exactly, she smiled. The universe is showing you the way. Are you going to let fear hold you back? That very night, I updated my resume and sent it off. To my surprise, I received an email the next day scheduling an interview. During the week of waiting, I intensified my visualizations. I imagined myself walking into the modern office, contributing in meetings, feeling valued. The phone rang on a Thursday afternoon. Mr. Lucas? This is Tech Solutions. We would like to inform you that you have been selected for the position. My hands trembled as I hung up. I ran to the bathroom and looked at myself in the mirror, the same mirror where, weeks earlier, I repeated affirmations without really believing them. "It's happening," I whispered to my reflection. Sarah, my colleague, noticed my expression when I returned. "What's with that face?" "I got a new job," I said, still processing it. "At a startup." "That one you thought was too much for you?" She smiled. "See? Sometimes we set limits on ourselves." That night, I wrote in my notebook, "Today I realized that small miracles happen every day. They are not coincidences, they are manifestations. And this is just the beginning." That year-end meeting at Tech Solutions seemed ordinary, until the CEO made the announcement, to lead our new innovation department, we chose someone who demonstrated not only competence but an incredible ability to think outside the box. "Lucas, congratulations. You will be our new director of innovation." My heart raced. The salary? $120,000 a year. 3 times what I was earning. During lunch, I ran to the bathroom and cried. Not out of sadness, but from an emotion I couldn't even explain. I picked up my old manifestation notebook, now all scribbled and crumpled. "Hey, superstar." It was Rachel knocking on the door. "Can I come in? I have a proposal for you." She entered with a different sparkle in her eye. "Remember when you told me about your visualizations of having your own business?" "Yes, but I'm opening a specialized coffee shop. I need a partner with your business vision. Interested?" I froze. In my notebook, 3 months earlier, I had written, "I am grateful for having my own business, something that excites me and brings me financial freedom." "How much do you need for investment?" I asked. $30,000. "I have half." I smiled. My savings, which had once been non-existent, now had exactly $15,000. 3 months later, our coffee shop, Gratitude Coffee, opened its doors. In the first month, we were already profitable. That night, alone after closing, I sat at one of the tables in the cafe. The aroma of coffee still lingered in the air. I picked up my old notebook and began to flip through it. Suddenly, I realized something that gave me chills. Money wasn't the most important thing. It was me. I had changed. "Lucas?" It was Sarah, my former colleague, who had become a regular customer. "Still around?" "Just reflecting," I replied. "You know, I used to be so afraid of everything. Of trying, of failing, of succeeding. And now? Now I know the biggest block was here." I pointed to my head. "Prosperity has always been available. I just needed to allow myself to receive it." Sarah smiled. "You seem different. More at peace." "That's exactly how I feel," I replied, looking out the cafe window. At peace. Prosperous not just in the bank but here inside. That night, I wrote a single line in my new notebook. Today I understood that true manifestation wasn't about having more, but about being more. Today, 6 months after opening Gratitude Coffee, I decided to do something different. I transformed the space into a motivational meeting center on Monday nights. You know what's most amazing? I shared with the group. A year ago, I was drowning in debt, without hope. Today, I'm not just talking about money in the bank, I'm talking about mental peace. Mary, a regular customer, raised her hand. "How did you start?" It seems so far from my reality. "It started with a podcast and a $5 notebook," I smiled, showing my worn notebook. "But the real start was when I decided I deserved more. But what if it doesn't work out? Asked Tom, a young programmer. You know what I learned? Failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of it. Every no brought me closer to the yes that changed my life. Rachel, my partner and former mentor, added, manifestation isn't magic, it's an internal awakening. Exactly, I agreed. The money, the cafe, all of this are consequences. The true transformation happens inside. Sarah, who was at the back of the room, asked, and how do you maintain this mindset on bad days? I took my current notebook and read, gratitude is not denying challenges, it's finding strength in them. Every obstacle taught me something valuable. Look around, I continued. This cafe was born from a dream written in a notebook. But before manifesting on paper, I had to believe it was possible. At that moment, an elderly woman in the corner of the room began to cry. What's wrong, Mrs. Miller? I asked. It's just that, for the first time in years, I feel hope, she replied, wiping her eyes. I picked up some new notebooks I had set aside and distributed them to the group. Here's your first step. The first page is blank, waiting for your story. It's not about writing what you want, it's about recognizing who you already are. The silence in the room was palpable. 20 people, each with their new notebook, ready to start their own story. And remember, I concluded, change begins with a thought, grows with action, and multiplies with persistence. The life you dream of isn't as far away as it seems. As people left, some with tears in their eyes, others with determined smiles, I realized, my greatest manifestation wasn't the money or the business, it was becoming someone who could inspire others to believe in themselves. And you, who are listening to this now, what story do you want to write? Your blank page is waiting. The universe conspires in favor of those who have the courage to dream and act. Start today. Start now. This story showed that true transformation begins within us. What part inspired you the most? Leave your comment, we want to know your opinion. Don't forget to like this content to support it and subscribe to the channel to follow more stories that can change lives. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any videos and help spread this message of hope and overcoming. Your participation is essential for us to reach more people who need inspiration like this.